But first, my take for today, Who Will Tell the President, Part 11, with the subtitle, Is the President Stunned with a Surge in Terror? It's a question. Let's give it to him. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a vision. His mind is still relatively in good shape. He understands the problems of the nation and has even professed some of the solutions. For instance, he knows that state police is an imperative. In some instances, he has been bullish in trying to implement difficult but needed reforms where his predecessors dittered, even at the risk of his own perception of hypocrisy because of his past partisan views, such as his condemnation of the removal of subsidy by former President Jonathan Goodluck. You remember what he said then. But he also understands, that is President Tinubu, quite a bit more. For instance, he understands that the federal government should be better in the management of its finances and that Nigeria ought to make more money and that we have to have a more value-driven economic policies in place. And with Sir Oluyemi Cardoso at the helm at the central bank, we have all seen the nation's foreign reserves climb to as high as $50 billion, the highest in a decade for sure. While CBN is equally resolving many of the imposed and corruption-laden crises of foreign exchange all at once. And so there are things to say kudos to. Still on CBN, CBN has in fact now redeemed the country from the failure and the forest crisis that was dumped carelessly on this country by Mr. Godwin Emefiele and his shadowy cabal that ridiculed Nigeria with a financial assault, which I'm sure bookmakers won't forget in a hurry. He has even professed that we are aiming for a $1 trillion economy by 2030. Now, the president knows that Nigerian workers needed to have a living wage, and while he didn't quite live up to the expectations for the minimum wage to be pegged at 100,000 naira per month, he approved 77,000 and conceded to a renegotiation of the minimum wage by next year. But who will tell Mr. President that the problem with some of the good narratives above is that insecurity makes a nonsense of all of them? Partly because when blood is being spilled in too many places, there's a palpable fear in the country. And when there is no swift justice for the evildoers, the loudness of injustice cannot be quelled by such beautiful narratives. That is why people say justice is the first condition of humanity. And justice must be at the very heart of governance. But who will tell the president that he is looking rather perplexed and even stunned by the recent resurgence of insurgency and the persistence of banditry in the country? Because there is a lot of blood and tears and destruction all over the place. Who will ask the president, sir, did you not prepare for this? But who will tell the president that the number of killings this year alone is alarming, be it in Borno, Benue, Plateau, Niger, Kaduna in particular, but across several states in our country? Who will tell the president that there seems to be a particular targeting of our military, especially the 29th Task Force Brigade in the Northeast? On the 9th of April this year, in Beni Sheikh last week, a massive coordinated raid by Boko Haram and ISWAP targeted the 1st Brigade headquarters. And the casualties in that attack included Brigadier General Oseni Brimo and other soldiers who were killed. Besides those painful deaths, the impact was damning as insurgents reportedly devastated the base, burning military vehicles and equipment. Later on, the military sources said that they were overwhelmed and they scampered away. Who will tell the president that, by the way, we also have in March, between March 1 and 9 this year, in various locations, within a single week, reportedly, 3 separate commanding officers who were killed by the attack of the terrorists in their bases in Mayanti, Major U.I. Marega was killed on the 1st of March. In Konduga, Lieutenant Colonel S.I. Iyasu was killed on March 6. In Kukawa, Lieutenant Colonel Farouk was killed on March 9. Now, inside sources salute the sacrifice of those fighting, and we must continue to honor the memory of those who paid the ultimate price. These are heroes for our lives and for our countries forever. But we tell the president that in the last few days, bandits have also attacked Shiroro communities in Niger State with 40 killed according to initial reports, but the figures of dead bodies that were seen over the weekend has increased to over 60. Before that, in Plateau, during a late night attack on Bokos, another 8 people were killed. Who will tell the president that the last time he was in Plateau, he said that these things will never happen again? Since then, at least 2 attacks have been reported in Plateau, barely a week or 2 ago. If the president is stunned, these things are indeed stunning, and we hope it stops at some point. But we tell the president that there is even something that is more stunning, that in Borno State, 3 days before this last Benishek attack, there was credible intelligence about what was impending, and yet the attacks could not be forestalled as Governor Babagana Zulum lamented poor coordination and ineffective response time on Friday while on a condolence visit to the military base. So we knew that this was going to happen, did nothing about it. Who will tell the president that he needs a personal retreat, a personal renewal, especially in the following area: coordination of government business, especially in the military. We now have it on record from 2 governors, that is Kebbi and Borno, that there are strong examples of poor coordination and related challenges in the military and security coordination. In Kebbi, Governor Nasir Idris told us that military troops were withdrawn 45 minutes before the bandits attacked the girls in Maga. That was November 17 last year. Up until now, there hasn't been any kind of public explanation of what actually happened. That is the chief security officer in Kebbi making that position known publicly without any response. And now, Governor Babagana Zulum, like I said, of Borno, says regarding the Benishek attack that there was credible intelligence received 3 days before, yet no effective response to prevent what turned out to be a devastating blow. Who will tell the president that he can no longer ignore the dangerous trend of lack of coordination in his government. The president must impose consequences because he's the commander-in-chief. If a security or military service chief cannot deliver, Mr. President, please send them packing. In conclusion, we will remind the president of the fact that he, as president, stridently advocated for former President Jonathan to resign, partly because of some of these things that he is now struggling with. Just like he is now dealing with those issues, should we call for his resignation? What a poetic justice. But let's just tell the president now that the question is, would he kick the cans of this same problem down the road so that other leaders will come and grapple with it? Or will he solve them now? Someone should tell the president that Nigerians are looking for a man of courage, an upright man who can end the insecurity. Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you can still be that man, but you can start by showing us that you take governance serious like you take politics. Mr. President, you can show us that you can fight insecurity and make it look silly like you have done to your political opponents.